Hello everybody, Jose Rodriguez here. I'm going to show you very quickly as I can possibly do it. You know me. Well, we'll try to do it quickly. Question was asked, somebody wanted to print a 16 by 20 image inside 17 by 22 inch paper and send it over to the Pro 1000 from Canon. They were having problems laying this out. They couldn't get it centered. Again, you got to use the right tools. I don't like the plugins myself. I like to use a specific tool such as Lightroom or even QImage Ultimate, which makes this job ever so easy. So let me take you over to Lightroom, and I'm going to show you how to go about doing this the quickest, simplest way possible. Let's jump right over to Lightroom. Okay, so here we are in Lightroom. You can see that I have an image open. This image used to be a 2:3 ratio, and I had to crop it to 4:5 because I wanted to fit within a 16 by 20. The person wanted an actual 16-inch wide by 20-inch tall full image, okay? He forgot that most cameras have a 2:3 ratio, and you gotta crop it. You can't really make it fit. You cannot perform magic. So the first thing you need to do is crop your image to the final dimensions. If you want to do it to 16 by 20, then by George, do so. 4:5 is fine. So here we are with the image open. We're just going to quickly, not waste any time, jump over to the print module. And we're going to choose our printer. In this case, it was a Pro 1000. So we'll stick with that. 17 by 22. And here's one little trick that you need to do. Make sure, and I'll show you both examples. Most of the time you will have borderless unchecked. Okay? Don't worry about the paper that we have chosen at this point. It's not important. It could be matte. It could be glossy. It could be whatever. But one thing you have to do, go to your page setup tab. Click right here, please. Do not click on fit to page. Right here. Okay? Normal size. And set that as your default. You notice they moved a little bit. Okay, now here's what we need to do to create this image to fit perfectly and create for us a 16 by 20 image size, utilizing that whole image that I cropped to the correct dimensions and make it fit centered and make it fit perfectly and centered perfectly inside that 17 by 22 inch paper. We're going to minimize our margins. Wait a minute. You see, I just can't do it. No matter what I do. See that? And the reason you cannot do that is because you must set the driver to borderless. It's not going to print edge to edge, so please get that through your head. It's not going to affect the actual image at all. Watch this. Nothing changed. You see that? But now I can bring my borders down to 0. And the reason I did that is because the image, by virtue of the locked settings of drivers, you have to have a minimum upper, lower, left, and right border. And believe me, folks, they don't match. Okay, so your image would never, ever end up being centered like you wish it would. So you must pick borderless. Let me show you what happens if you're curious. I'm going to take off borderless, and now you see that my margins have popped back up to some pretty weird settings. 0.14, 0.13, 0.11, and 0.21. What? We don't want that. We want to be able to center our image perfectly. And you cannot do it otherwise unless you choose borderless. It's a little trick that I found out a while ago, and so I have to share it with you guys. Bring everything back to 0. Now we need to create a 16 by 20 cell. That's very easily done right here. Notice if I move the slider, I'm creating cell sizes of very, very odd dimensions. We don't want to do that. We just want to be exact. We're going to put down 20 for the height and 16 for the width. And that is it. Notice, take a quick close look at my layout. Notice everything is centered perfectly. Notice I have zoom to fill, but really there's no need because my image has been cropped to the correct dimensions. I need to emphasize that. Prepare your image to fit whatever ratio your final image was meant to be in the first place. 16 by 20 is a 4:5 ratio. So I cropped my original image, which was a 2:3 ratio, to a 4:5, and magically it fits perfectly. How do you like that? It's ready to be printed. You will get a centered image, as centered as the printer feed mechanism can center the paper. Okay? Please also understand that there's no way that most desktop printers or even semi-professional printers can locate and feed the paper exactly the same, fraction of a millimeter accuracy. It's not going to happen. That's why when you print regular edge-to-edge borderless work, you have to enlarge the image well beyond the physical edges of the paper so that you don't accidentally end up with some random white borders here and there if you're making several copies of a particular image. So yes, the feed mechanism is not exact. The layout at this point, it is perfect. So you don't have to worry about it. At least you know your layout is perfect. And if you get a slight difference in centering, you might not even notice it visually, but it can happen. Just a warning for you guys to know that. All right, let's jump over to Q Image. Again, the same thing applies here. Okay, I have set up my driver, Pro 1000, Canon paper, whatever paper, 17 by 22, and borderless. And we're ready to print. Again, also, make sure that you have the page set up and here, boom. Now we're ready. So how do we come up with this nice 16 by 20 window already set up for us? Well, right here, folks, in the print tab, you can pick whatever size you want. Notice how it immediately centered the picture, cropped it as needed to make it fit. We want 16 by 20. It is simple and actually as easy as you just saw me do, okay? If you thought Lightroom was easy, you just cannot believe how easy this is. Photoshop, not so easy. That's why I didn't even cover it, okay? Q Image is king when it comes to laying out your work. You can do multiple layouts, which we're not going to cover in this short video. I just want you to see how you can simply lay a 16 by 20 from a pre-cropped to the correct ratio image every single time and have it be centered. We have 1 inch on the top, or what would be the right side, the left side, and 1/2 inch on the top, 1/2 inch on the bottom. Simple as that. All right. I hope you saw how easy that was. Piece of cake. It just depends on the tool. The tool that you use is what will bring you to the point where you can literally do this with your eyes closed. Now in Q Image, you can actually save whatever you prepared, regardless of the number of settings and adjustments you had to come up with. Save it as a job, give it a name that you can recall, and a year later down the road, you can actually recall that job and reprint it exactly the way it was a year prior. You just got to make sure that your image is still located in the same directory or the same drive that you originally had it in when you saved that job. Okay? Even if you relocated it, you can actually redo the whole thing again simply by locating the new place where that image is living at now and just resave it. Again, wonderful program. I absolutely love it. And pretty soon, the next few days, I was told version 2020 is coming out. So you guys be aware of that. If you are not already an owner of QImage, consider it. This is not a commercial for QImage. It may sound like it, but it is not, believe me. I just love this program. The application does everything I need to do, specifically when it comes to printing and many other functions that I haven't even explored yet fully. And also a lot of fixes, how to get around certain problems with, say, Canon printers. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. And as always, happy printing, everybody. Bye-bye.